Within the world of Jiu-Jitsu and grappling, there are legends that stand out more than others. Many of you likely know Gordon Ryan Craig Jones and the newest standout Mikey Musumeci. But those of us who witnessed the Jiu-Jitsu scene between 2010 and 2020, we saw some of the best exponents of the gentle art. Roger Gracie, Jacare Souza, Keenan Cornelius, and many more. But among all the big names of that era, there's a giant. He dominated the heavyweight category in the world of Jiu-Jitsu. And to this day, he's one of the most decorated exponents of the art of folding people like they were t-shirts. That's why welcome to the IQ-verse, the great Buchecha Almeida. Marcos Vinicius Oliveira de Almeida, or Buchecha for his friends. He was born on January 8, 1990 in the city of Santos, in the state of Sao Paulo, Brazil. His childhood, although it was not marked by the turbulence of the streets or economic problems, like that of other fighters we've featured on the channel, was indeed immersed in the culture of Jiu-Jitsu. Her father, Clayton Almeida, used to take his daughter to Jiu-Jitsu classes, and he would also bring along a chubby Marcus, so he could keep her company while his sister trained.
Because that's what a man does.
One day, the protagonist's father decided to join the classes, and he forced the little but overweight Buchecha to train Jiu-Jitsu with him. Often spoiled kids tend not to be very fond of sports. It wasn't love at first sight for young Marcus. In fact, he disliked the idea of sweating and struggling, even preferring studying over going to practice.
I wasn't expecting that.
However, his father persisted, forcefully planting the seed of Jiu-Jitsu. It was planted and flourished. What not many expected was that the little ball of fat would start to stand out. Watch out, I say small in age because in size and weight, he was bigger than most of them. For a snack, it was like they gave him oatmeal with nandrolone and growth hormone. He was a big kid, pretty strong for his age, and with surprising coordination for his size. Under the guidance of Rodrigo Cavaca, Buchecha went from being a reluctant rookie to an unstoppable prospect. His progression through the belts was meteoric. He won tournaments in every age group and belt color, demonstrating a natural aptitude for the gentle art that was rarely seen. What set Buchecha apart was not just his size. It was his ability to combine brute strength with polished technique and surprising agility. He could pass guard with great precision and smoothly chain together intricate submissions like a lightweight fighter. Discipline in training, unwavering dedication, and the support of his team formed the foundation of what would become the most dominant Jiu-Jitsu competitor of his era. As Buchecha rose through the ranks of Jiu-Jitsu, his name became synonymous with victory. Once he earned his black belt, he forced Jiu-Jitsu to bow before him. His numbers were simply astonishing. Buchecha's black belt career began his golden era, establishing an unprecedented dominance. He won multiple world championships of the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation in his weight class. But he also established himself as the king of the absolute division, a testament to his versatility and ability to submit opponents of any size. And his success was not limited only to the gi, the uniform worn by Jiu-Jitsu fighters, but also by demonstrating his skill in grappling, without the kimono or nogi, adding titles in renowned events like the Abu Dhabi Combat Club, which to this day has been like the Olympics for grapplers, which are held every 2 years. And since talking about his career in Jiu-Jitsu alone would require a video longer than the Lord of the Rings trilogy, let's just say that between 2010 and 2019, he achieved an incredible 13 Jiu-Jitsu World Championships under the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. He also won 2 World Championships from the Abu Dhabi Combat Club. Add to that 2 No-Gi World and 4 Pan American Jiu-Jitsu Championships, 2 Grand Prix World Championships in the absolute category, and 6 Abu Dhabi World Pro titles. Just with this, you have a sports resume for several lifetimes.
That's true.
And this excludes runner-up and third-place finishes. Of course, throughout his career, he's had several matches that marked his path to being considered one of the best. For instance, he faced Rodolfo Vieira in the absolute final at the 2012 International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation World Championship. That's the part of the tournament where there are no weight categories and champions from other divisions sign up, and they turned this match into a legendary fight. Buchecha turned around an unfavorable situation, establishing his name as the new king of the absolute division, and creating one of the greatest rivalries in the sport. The following year, at the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation World Championship again, he would face Vieira again, and once more in the absolute final. Vieira was thirsty for revenge. But Buchecha prevailed once again, consolidating his dominance and reaffirming his status as the best in the world. In that same year's Abu Dhabi Combat Club, he faced Dean No Neck Lister. It was his debut in the over 99 kg semi-final at the Abu Dhabi Combat Club. But not even this stopped our now hyper-developed protagonist. Buchecha showed his adaptability to nogi by overcoming a grappler of Dean Lister's caliber on his way to gold. Later that day, Buchecha won the Abu Dhabi Combat Club Championship final in his debut appearance. And he made it clear that he was a threat, even without the gi on. At the 2017 World Championship, he would face another legend who also has a video on the channel. These two have a personal history which, well, I already talked about in the other video. Leandro Lo, he definitely didn't make things easy for our protagonist. He had to come up with a strategic fight plan to be able to overcome the danger that Lo represented. In the end, he would add another absolute gold to his collection. At the 2019 Abu Dhabi Combat Club, he shared the mat with Gordon Ryan. Despite being defeated, it was a testament to Buchecha's longevity at the top of the sport, clashing against a new generation of grappling competitors with new tools and skills. With Jiu-Jitsu in the palm of his hand and a shelf full of trophies that could no longer fit, the inevitable question began to linger in Buchecha's mind and in the martial arts community. Will Buchecha make the transition to mixed martial arts?
Who knows? I can't tell you anything there.
For years, the answer was a maybe or a someday. He had flirted with the idea, training with mixed martial arts figures, but always returned to his first love, Jiu-Jitsu. However, in 2021, the excuses were over. Marcus Buchecha Almeida announced that he had signed a contract with One Fight Championship, the promotion that, for better or worse, has control over a good part of the Asian mixed martial arts market. For our protagonist, the transition wasn't merely changing gyms, it was a total overhaul of his approach. He spent years perfecting his grappling, but mixed martial arts are a completely different thing. Grappling is just one leg of the skills you need to be a complete mixed martial arts fighter. Now, in addition to his takedowns and lethal submissions, he had to learn how to strike and, even more importantly, how not to get hit.
Wow, I can't find any flaws in his logic.
He immersed himself in striking training, working tirelessly on his boxing and Muay Thai. His takedown defense, although already strong, had to be adapted for the threat of strikes. The physical conditioning was also different, because the pace and explosiveness of mixed martial arts demands a different kind of endurance. And on September 24, 2021, Buchecha makes his entrance into the ONE Championship circuit. His opponent would be Anderson Braddock Silva, an experienced kickboxer, which already made the fight a real test for Buchecha's ability to handle striking. But our protagonist didn't let him throw a single punch. The moment the fight began, he took him to the ground and dominated him with skill, until he submitted him with a north-south choke. Almost 3 months later, it's time for him to return to action, this time against the Asian Kang Ji-won, who would be dispatched in less than 3 minutes of the first round with a rear naked choke.
It was at that moment when he knew he had messed up.
In 2022, he would start off on a positive note after getting his first win by technical knockout, by dropping some bombs on Simon Carson in the first round. After this, he faces the Belarusian Kirill Grishenko, who in theory was a dangerous opponent for our protagonist. But Buchecha activates his osteopathy expert mode, shattering his ankle with a heel hook in under 2 minutes. Besides the victory, he was given a juicy bonus of $50,000. Because yes, the Asian Shark also has significant bonuses.
I don't give a damn.
With a record of 4-0, plus his growing popularity, since the One's heavyweight division isn't that big, they schedule him for an eliminator fight against Umar Kane, known in the mixed martial arts world as Reug Rog. While Buchecha's background was clearly Jiu-Jitsu, Reug Rog came from traditional Senegalese wrestling. This chocolate-skinned rival would push our protagonist to the limit during 3 full rounds, where both gave it their all. After 15 minutes of action from these two giants, where from the middle of the fight, it was clear that Buchecha had the cardio of a pneumonia patient. The judges gave the victory to Reug Rog by unanimous decision, thus giving Buchecha his first defeat and taking him off the prestigious list of undefeated fighters.
No!
Hit but not sung. After a 15-month absence, he is scheduled to fight former UFC fighter Amir Ali-Akbari upon his return, whom he submits with a rear naked choke in less than 4 minutes. He also secures another $50,000 bonus, which is definitely not bad.
Money, money, money!
From that moment, he never fought in the ring or the one cage again. What was really happening behind the scenes was that his contract was for 6 fights, which he fulfilled. He even thought about retiring, because of how restrictive they usually are. When his contract expired and he became a free agent, he was immediately signed by the powerhouse Ultimate Fighting Championship. Smartly, Buchecha was already training even before signing with Ultimate Fighting Championship, because regardless of the offer he took, it was certain that the promotion that signed him would want to have him fight as soon as possible. And that's exactly what happened. The Megalodon team schedules the grappling expert to make his debut on July 26th in Abu Dhabi against the number 13 in the heavyweight division, Martin Buday, which means they want to have him play with the big boys sooner rather than later. However, UFC's plans and your medals and world championships don't matter. The truth about your skills is only measured inside the octagon. When the fight began, right as the bell rang, the anticipated outcome unfolded. Buchecha tries to take him down repeatedly but finds very tough resistance from Buday. Ironically, during the first round, it would be Buchecha who landed most of the significant strikes. But as he tried to take him down, his cardio began to falter. In the second round, Buchecha was exhausted, breathing through his mouth. It seemed his opponent would win by heart attack, because the Brazilian had cardio worthy of Kimbo Slice. However, he showed good control of positions, both in the second and third rounds. Even so, I have to say I was really surprised when Buday managed to control him on the ground for a few seconds. But anyway, he lost. The judges gave the victory to Buday by unanimous decision. In my opinion, the decision should have been split. When I watched the fight, I really didn't know who to give it to. But that's how it is. The loser loses. And well, it seems that Buchecha isn't ready, at least for now, to face a top 15 fighter in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And even less so with this cardio. Honestly, it's been a pretty anticlimactic debut. I expected a lot more from him, and at the very least that he would come in with cardio that matched the level that was expected. It's been a real disappointment for me. Even so, we've seen a huge number of fighters fall in their debuts in Ultimate Fighting Championship and come back with the Vegeta effect. So now all that's left is to recover.
Nobody cares!
His mixed martial arts record currently stands at 5-2, positioning himself here for pure mixed martial arts victories. For grappling, he remains in another spot with 115 wins. Now what I think is that Dana, regardless of how he does in the cage, sooner rather than later, is going to have him compete in the Ultimate Fighting Championship Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I honestly believe that was the main motivation for his hiring. Mickey, though sometimes emotional and quirky, is one of the most skilled and technical experts in his field. But he's really not even close to being a living legend in grappling, like Buchecha has been. I have no proof, but I have no doubt either that there's a very high chance he'll end up fighting for the heavyweight belt from Dana's new adventure, aiming to add more depth and strength to it. I think Buchecha's story is proof that we can find our place. And that thing we're really good at, even if it's something we didn't even like at first. Though initially reluctant, martial arts training revealed his innate talent, which, combined with growing discipline, turned him into one of the phenomena of his generation. And that has him today in the most important mixed martial arts promotion of the moment. This reflects his growth as a fighter and his pursuit of fresh challenges. Because he could have stayed in the world of grappling, being considered one of the best in the world and one of the greatest of recent times. He preferred to take the risk and prove that he can be successful in another discipline that, although related, requires much more preparation and sacrifice on his part. It takes courage to step out of your comfort zone and put yourself out there like this. Tell me in the comments, what do you think is next for Buchecha? If you believe, like I do, that he's going to end up in Ultimate Fighting Championship Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Or on the other hand, if you think he could become a serious contender among the heavyweights. Here I leave you the story of Leandro Lau and here the story of Gordon Ryan, other grapplers we've already covered on the channel. Thanks for joining. Until next time.